It's on record.
Make sure it stays recording.
I hope so.
Who's gonna watch that?
We're gonna blink the red light.
Okay.
Enlarge this just a little bit, we can.
Okay, everybody, thank you for coming tonight. This is an analysis I had to do for Counselor Education 300. It's a class I'm taking here at Winona State, and we were supposed to analyze 5 different careers for the analysis. And the one that I chose to focus mainly on was an automotive general sales manager. And I'm familiar, as you know, with the automotive industry a little bit and the sales industry, and had a little bit of management experience in that as well, and sales experience, quite extensive. So we were asked to consider 12 different criteria with our main focus on our main profession that we were looking at. And as I have them listed here, I know we don't have any overhead projector. We're a little bit low tech here tonight, so you're going to see me erasing a little bit and writing down. But the 12 criteria that I considered for the profession: work tasks and activities, college courses and majors required of the career choice, physical demands of the position, working conditions of position as a general sales manager or career, job-related interests, required knowledge of general sales manager, automotive general sales manager, career preparation, such as what would someone have to do to prepare for a career as a general sales manager, hiring practices of the position, wages and salaries for the position, employment outlook for the career as an automotive general sales manager, advancement opportunities, and current job listings in the immediate area. I chose 100 miles to see what kind of general sales manager positions were listed, and so that would be the criteria that we're gonna entertain tonight. So I'm gonna use my computer. I have the PowerPoint here listed on the computer. The one statistic that I did when I did my research that really affected, or that I considered and made an impact on me, was that in Minnesota, I tried to focus the research in Minnesota, 3 out of 5 college graduates, 2 years after they graduate, do not hold a full-time position. And I'm assuming that much of that, or many of those, are not within the profession or the field that they chose to go to school for. And that was kind of shocking to me. So a lot of people were focusing on having their paper kind of revolve around the idea that we're not prepared for what we want to go to college for, and I understand that many of us are not. But what happens when you think that you know what you want to go to school for, and after you're out of or graduate and get your bachelor's degree or your diploma, what happens afterwards? That's what I was focusing on, and I wanted to come up with some careers that people could consider that do not require a bachelor's degree, that are well-paying and somewhat prestigious, or possibly sought after employment. So that's what I focused on. So and along with that, the work tasks and activities, I'm going to start with that right off the bat here. So we went through that. For a general sales manager in the automotive department, like any general sales manager, it's really retail based, obviously, but they're responsible for formulating the overall goal of the sales team in a dealership, and kind of directing the overall direction that dealership and that sales team will take. So that's, I think, probably goes without saying, but they develop sales campaigns and advertising. Those are some of the main tasks that they do. It's very, very essential that they appeal to the public. So those are some of the things that they do. They monitor the performance of the managers they hire. They use the new car department, and expectations and goals that they set for them. They have to monitor that and get feedback from their departments. So also holding sales training for the sales force, and going to seminars, attending seminars, generating ideas and ad campaigns, like I had said, and thoughts for advertising. So those are some of the main tasks and activities that they perform. Skills and knowledge based on the research obviously professionalism, to appear professional, have the attire that's professional. PR skills are essential. Need to know how to handle the day-to-day public relations aspect of the job. So, which is something that I did go to school for. That was a major core of my studies actually. Strong leadership skills, another essential skill that's required of the position. So, communicating skills, obviously communication is very important. You're dealing with upper management, if there are any, or the ownership, and the public as well as your employees. So communication as every industry or career, it's very important. Computer abilities is also a consideration, an area of study that, or knowledge that's important for a general sales manager, and accounting knowledge. So, also, very important, it was suggested through the research that a minimum of at least 2 years of prior dealership experience would be required of a position if somebody was looking to be employed as a general sales manager. I find that it's probably quite a bit more than that, so a little bit more than two years, probably more like 5 to 10 years of dealership experience for a requirement for making a good sales manager, general sales manager. Educational requirements for the position. Many do not require a bachelor's degree, which is not surprising to me. Of the dealerships that I know and the ones I've been involved with, very few of the people actually have bachelor's degrees. However, any experience that you can obtain, computer knowledge, electronics knowledge actually is very important. Any secondary education that you can obtain will be a benefit to you if you're looking to be hired for the position of a general sales manager. Physical demands of the job, long hours obviously. Some of the information that I gathered will be based on a 40-hour per week estimation, and there's going to be much more than 40 hours dedicated to the position if you're going to be employed as a general sales manager in the automotive industry. It's very stressful at times. You have a lot of activity going on, stressful with the public and stressful with the employees, so on and so forth, and meeting sales goals. That becomes an issue at times. Obviously, you're kind of dependent on the public and the consumer buying power at the during particular quarters and particular times. So, the ability to effectively communicate and think may be the most demanding of the physical demands. You need to be a good communicator. That's one of the common threads that I found with all the research that I did. Being able to communicate effectively is very important. So, moving on down here, the work environment. Travel is required a lot. Manufacturer meetings, new product displays, so on and so forth. Going to seminars, sometimes out of state, sometimes just 6, 7, 8 hours a day. Sometimes you will be required to travel at times. So you must be able to accept criticism from the public. You have to have a thick skin, as they say. So that's very important as well. Conversely, it can be a very highly rewarding, and when goals are met, it can be a pleasant atmosphere as well. In the dealerships I've worked in, there's been a lot of moments when we have a lot of fun. So it's not always terribly stressful. So I wanted to emphasize that as well. Related job interests for somebody that wants to become a general sales manager for an automotive dealership. You need to be enterprising. You need to be able to kind of strike out and find new ideas. Again, related to the sales campaigns and the advertising campaigns. You want to kind of separate yourself a little bit differently than the next dealership down the road. So you need to be investigative, realistic. Those are traits that are important for your personality for the position. The highest thing that I ranked, in my opinion, with some experience in the field, is integrity. You need to have integrity. It needs to be foremost on your mind. When dealing with the public, you're creating a brand for the dealership. You're creating a name for the dealership and a reputation, and that's all based and intertwined with integrity. So, need to be image conscious as well. Okay. Moving on down to career preparation. There's not really a clear path for the preparation someone has to take to be a general sales manager. Like I had said, it's not required to have a bachelor's degree. There's many general sales managers that have moved up through the ranks of sales, had a successful sales career, and have been able to move into the general sales manager position and done very well. There's some other general sales managers that have actually come from other areas of the dealership, managing different departments and had success in that. So it's not just necessarily about the sales aspect of the dealership. It's about the success of being a manager. So, and then at times other business managers from other areas, not necessarily in the automotive industry, have been successful moving into the automotive industry and taking over a dealership as well. So, hiring processes, it's a traditional format. Usually, there's an opening that happens, and you submit a resume and go through a series of interviews. That's typical for probably a lot of professions in a lot of industries. But that's how I was hired, and that's how I know many people have been hired as well. But as I said, a lot of the general sales managers have moved up through the ranks of the successful sales career in a dealership, and that really is what I'm familiar with a lot of people ascending to the general sales manager position, is through being a good salesman. They're just promoted by the owner or the general manager of the dealership for the success that they've had, and they move up that way. So that's often how it happens, and the continuity that comes with that, because the particular individual is familiar with the systems within a dealership, it makes it easier for them, in the transitional period for the rest of the employees in the dealership as well. So, wages and salaries, this is a big one. This is appealing for a general sales manager in an automotive dealership. The national average is $126,000 per year. Obviously, so that's the average, that's the medium income. There's going to be more and there's going to be less, a little bit less, but they rank between $93,000 on the low end and as high as like $150,000 on the upper end. So in Minnesota, the median income for a general sales manager in an automotive dealership is $108,000, just over $108,000 a year. This is not including bonuses or profit sharing for any dealership. So obviously the salary or the wage can be increased through hitting certain sales goals and sales levels. Very lucrative, but you're going to have a lot more. That was based on 40 hours per week. You're going to have a lot more than 40 hours per week involved in being a general sales manager. Just probably more like 60, 65 hours per week on average. So, employment outlet for Minnesota, it gets a 5-star rating. Employment as a general sales manager is expected. Openings are expected to grow at a rate of 4% by the year 2020. Nationally, that will more than double by 8.3%. Availability for jobs as a general sales manager expected to open up by 2020. So it's quite a nice growth rate as far as employment opportunities for the career. Advancement opportunities. Typically, you're in the upper echelon of the hierarchy, if you will, of a dealership as a general sales manager. Typically, in the dealerships that I'm familiar with, general sales manager are also synonymous with general managers. In bigger dealerships, it would be the general manager above the general sales manager position, and above that would be ownership. So typically, if you're going to advance, it won't be any higher than the general manager from the general sales manager position. And if you do advance, it would be into ownership, which is a good thing. A lot of general sales managers or general managers are actually owners or partial owners of a dealership. So if you advance more than that, you're doing all right, I guess is what I'm saying. And then a job search, that would be the last criteria that I considered for a general sales manager position. And within 100 miles of Winona, I did note and did find that there was one general sales manager position open for an automotive dealership. It was in Wausau, Wisconsin. And some of the listings or some of the aspects that they were looking at were for both the new and used department, and the position required only 1 year of automotive experience, prior automotive experience. So didn't require a bachelor degree like we were saying, and they listed lucrative bonuses and competitive benefits as being offered for the position. So several sales manager, new and used sales manager positions were also listed in employment searches when I looked within 100 miles of Winona. So one of the things I also had to consider is what I took away from my research, and what I found to be very surprising, not so much in the region because it is what I'm familiar with and what I've noted in the past, but a lot of the sales managers that I know aren't college educated, or at least don't have a bachelor's degree. They did ascend through the ranks of successful salespeople, but not just regionally, nationally. That is a trend nationally as well. So that was somewhat surprising to see that was a common theme throughout all the research and information that I read, that it's not atypical for someone to ascend to the ranks of a general sales manager or a general manager through the ranks of being a successful salesperson. So with that, I think that's all I have. I feel that this is a career that I will pursue in the future. It's something that I would consider very highly. I'm in the business. I have been for 12 years, and I feel that it is something that I would consider doing moving forward. So thank you very much. We'll have questions after this. That's it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for all your trouble. I slurred a lot, but that's too many beers.
I think he's gonna cut that out.
Okay, do I hit the red button, Cheryl?
Yeah. It'll be cut.